Good evening, I'm Fernando SSMM, and I'm going to talk to you about 14 programming languages your university doesn't want you to know. You'll see why that is in a minute or two. Also be ready for some mild audience participation right after this slide. This presentation contains a strong language throughout. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay, raise your hands if you know what JavaScript is. Okay, I see some hands raised, good. Now, keep your hands raised if you know what this evaluates to in JavaScript. If you don't, just lower your hand. No one? No one, really? Okay, it's good. I'll tell you. So this evaluates to 10. Why? Well, this is an empty array, and this converts it into a number, a 0. This is a 0 also. This transforms it into false. With this, you transform that into a number, so 1. You put 1 into an array or a string, and you put 0 into an array or a string, and you concatenate both. You then have a string with 10. You put that into an array, and you transform it into a number, and that evaluates to the number 10. This is a sample of JSFuck. JSFuck is a subset of JavaScript with only 6 valid characters, brackets, parentheses, exclamation, and plus symbol. It is perfectly valid JavaScript code and Turing complete. It is based on documented JS behavior, so of course it runs the same on every browser. A transpiler can be found at jsfuck.com. And on the right, you can see the equivalent to alert1 in JSFuck at merely 2,345 characters. But why is it called JSFuck? Well, because of brainfuck. Brainfuck is a programming language developed in 1993, and we're going to learn it in about 2.5 minutes. So let's go for it. Brainfuck has an infinite strip filled with zeros and a pointer that points to one of the cells. The whole language features only 8 instructions. You can change the position of the pointer. For example, greater than moves the pointer 1 space to the right. Less than moves the pointer 1 space to the left. You can also change the contents of the cell. For example, the plus symbol sums 1 to the cell of the pointer and stores it back into that cell. The minus symbol does the opposite. It subtracts 1 and puts it back into the cell. Dot interprets the number as ASCII or Unicode and outputs it. Comma inputs a character from the user or file and stores it in the cell the pointer is currently at. Opening bracket checks if the number pointed at is 0, and if so, the program jumps to the matching closing bracket in the code. Closing bracket checks if the number pointed at is not 0, and if so, the program jumps to the matching opening bracket. These two are the loops and the conditional operators of brainfuck. So let's run through one example. Here we have a program that adds 2 values. We have 3 and 2. So let's start subtracting 1 from 3, we get 2, and moving the pointer to the right. So we're here. Now we add 1 to 2, and we get 3. And now we move the pointer back to the left. Now we check, is this 0? No, then we jump to the start of the code and do it again. Subtract 1 from 2, and we get 1. Move to the right, we add 1 to 3, and we get 4. And we move 1 space to the left. And we check, is this 0? No, this is still not 0. So we subtract 1, we move 1 space to the right, we add 1, and we get 5. And we move 1 space to the left. Now, is this 0? Yes, then we jump out of here and finish the program. 3 plus 2 is 5. More complicated example is Hello World. This is Hello World in brainfuck. Here you set up the numbers, and here you start outputting them. 1 dot for each letter. You can see here, for example, these are the 2 L's in Hello. Another even more complicated example is the Game of Life. This was written by Linus Atkinson, and it's the Game of Life in brainfuck and also ASCII art. And this works. It's incredible. So why would you program this? Why would you program in brainfuck? Or why would you design brainfuck? Well, because it's fun. Brainfuck is an ESOLang. ESOLang stands for Esoteric Programming Language. They are designed for fun, not for work. And let me tell you, I wrote a brainfuck interpreter in JavaScript when I was in my 3rd year, and I had a lot of fun doing it. It is very, very slow, but it works, and I am so proud of it. They are normally not very usable as they tend to be very hard to understand or to program on, and they are usually either extremely minimalistic or outstandingly complex. It's part of the fun. So we've seen 2 of them. We still have 12 SLANGs to see. This is going to go fast, so you better brace yourselves. First one is ook. Ook is just a trivial substitution of brainfuck, following this table. If you want to teach an orangutan how to program, this is the language to do it in. Next up is colonoscopy. Colonoscopy is another trivial substitution of brainfuck, and it only uses colons and braces. Unary is a language a bit more involved. To write a program in Unary, first you need to write it in brainfuck. Then you substitute the commands following the table and put a 1 in front of it. Your program then is as many zeros as indicated by that number. For example, this program in brainfuck is 2 characters. In Unary, it's 108 zeros in a row. Here goes for minimalism. Next up, we have Malbolge. Malbolge was named after the 8th circle of hell in Dante's Divina Commedia. It was designed as the most difficult programming language possible. And maybe you're asking, how difficult can it really be? Well, the first program ever to be written in Malbolge was made in 2000, 2 whole years after the language was first published. And it was written by a computer, not a human. Unfortunately, I have to say that because of memory limitations, Malbolge is not truly Turing complete, but it's close. Here we have some of Malbolge's features. Malbolge uses ternary numbers and only 2 operators, rotation and crazy operator. The crazy operator can be seen here. It's a bitwise operator. It has 3 pointers, accumulator, code, and data. Code pointer doesn't directly point at the instruction. Instead, the executed instruction is a function of the code pointer and the value it's pointing at. After an instruction is executed, it gets encrypted following this table here. And both code and data pointers get increased by 1. This encryption makes it so the same instruction will not do the same the next time it's reached. These are not all the features. These are just the most understandable ones. So be careful if you try to do anything, and I do mean anything in this language. Even getting your program to run to completion without an error is very difficult. Here we have Hello World in Malbolge. I have the feeling that if someone understands this, they'd be given a Nobel Prize or something. This is ridiculous. So maybe Malbolge was too much. Okay, let's take a breather and see some cat photos. Why am I doing this? Okay, well, because our next SLANG is lolcode. Lolcode is an esoteric programming language based on these cat memes. And I think it's better shown with some examples. So let's just go for it. First one is Hello World. Hi, can I have standard input output? Visible, this is print. Hi world. Okay, thanks, bye. This is the end of the program. Another more complicated example is this for loop. Here you have the pseudocode. Hi, I'm in your loop for up in your variable, var++, till both same variable and 10, until variable is the same as 10. Visible, print, smush variable and space. Okay, this is the string construction. I'm out of your loop, closing bracket. Okay, thanks, bye, finish the program. Next up is whitespace. In whitespace, that which is ignored will come to light, at least if you're using syntax highlighting. It only cares about spaces, tabs, and new lines, and everything else is a comment. It is perfect for writing polyglot programs. Polyglot programs are programs that contain valid code for multiple programming languages at the same time. You can interweave a whitespace program in C or Java source code and make it look fairly normal, and so it's great for code obfuscation. Next, we have Chef. Chef is a programming language in which programs look like recipes. As per the specification, program recipes should not only generate valid output, but be easy to prepare and delicious. Someone back in 2013 actually made a Hello World cake. On the left, you can see a section of the recipe, just chocolate sauce, which prints hello. On the right, some photos of the preparation and, of course, the resulting cake. This program is polyglot, as it can be interpreted either by the the chef interpreter, or by an actual human chef who outputs the Hello World cake with chocolate sauce. Next up, we have Shakespeare. Shakespeare is a language based on the works of the great William Shakespeare. Programs involve multiple acts, scenes, characters, and lots of insults. For example, "You lying, stupid, fatherless, big, smelly, half-witted coward. You are so stupid as the difference between a handsome, rich, brave hero and thyself. Speak your mind." This section of the program stores 72 in Romeo and outputs that number as a character, so DH in Hello World. Funciton is a two-dimensional minimalistic programming language. Here we have the factorial function. The upper exclamation mark is the function declaration. -1, 2, and 1 are int literals. And as we can see, the function is recursive because it calls itself here. The question mark is a built-in function, as many others. This is a conditional operator, if, then, else. This is if one, if more than 2, whatever. Sorted programs always consist of 14 statements. First, you declare the cardinals you're going to use. Then you declare the jumps of your program. Later go outputs, inputs, sums, conditions, labels, order differences, assignment, products, the implementation of program flow, any ratios you might want to use, and logical operators. The last and 14th statement is coolness, where you write cool at the end of your program. As you can see, or maybe not, sorted is basically an assembly program where you group the instruction of the same type together. Next up is Pyth. Pyth is an abbreviated version of Python. It has a just-in-time compiler into Python, and all built-in functions and variables are 1 character long for brevity's sake. For example, for n in range 0 to head 10 or 10 plus 1, print n. So, or just do the variable n that prints it. This could be put to use as a code obfuscation technique. So, as long as we've seen JSFAQ, BrainFAQ, Ook, Colonoscopy, Unary, Malbolge, Lolcode, Whitespace, Chef, Shakespeare, Funciton, Sorted, and Pyth. 13 in total. That's because I've saved the best for last. I present to you PowerPoint. Yes, PowerPoint was proven to be Turing complete in 2017. A Turing machine can be built using autoshapes and animation triggers. When you click on an autoshape, it moves. This is an animation trigger. And an example can be found here in the PowerPoint Turing machine. So, for example, this is a Turing machine that recognizes palindromes of even length using 1 and 0. So let's give it something that is not a palindrome, for example, only the number 0. And let's execute it. In execution, you have to click on the orange squares. If you click anywhere else, it doesn't do anything. So you can just set up an auto clicker to click everywhere once, and the program will run automatically. This wasn't accepted because this wasn't a palindrome of even length. So let's try with a palindrome. For example, 1 and 1. And let's try to execute it. This, of course, I didn't do this, but I didn't program the Turing machine or anything. But you can find in the internet one. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. I scrolled by accident. So let's run it with 101 again. Okay. So I didn't program this, but you can find in the internet who did this. He has some videos about this, and it's great. Also, given that you have a Turing machine here, you can actually, well, or at least theoretically, program PowerPoint inside PowerPoint, and that would theoretically work. So these were the 14 programming languages your university doesn't want you to know, mainly because they are stupid. I have been Fernando SSMM, and I hope you have some fun picking this slang world. Excuse me. Thank you very much. So maybe we have questions in the Twitch chat. I have to check.
Fernando, may I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Have you tried all these languages?
Oh, I haven't tried all of them. I tried to look for languages that had already a working interpreter. So I think all of these work in practice. I have tried about half of them. Wait, so I don't remember exactly now. Excuse me. So, okay. If I share the screen, you'd see it. Okay, so I've tried JSFuck, I've tried BrainFuck, I've tried, well, I haven't tried Ook or Colonoscopy. I have tried, oops, excuse me. I have tried Pyth, I think, and I've read more about Chef and Shakespeare than I've shown you. So yeah, some of them work, and I think most of them do. Anything else?
Yeah. How did you discover the first one? I mean, this is not something that I would be looking for on the internet.
Oh, well, I think I remember seeing a Reddit post about it, like in r/programmer humor, and like with an example similar to the number 10, but it became the n value with all parentheses or square brackets and stuff. And someone in the comments just said, "Hey, JSFuck is based on this, so look it up." And it was incredible. I loved it.
I see. Well, congratulations for the presentation.
Thank you. Anything else? Anyone? No? Okay. I'll stop sharing then. Good night.